and view the entire thing on YouTube. A couple days from now, I will cut out just the excerpts of the readings that I'm doing, and I'll post those in to my author page. Just to give you a demonstration, the author page is currently live, and this is what it looks like. So I've got both authors' books with their blurbs or synopsis, whatever they sent me, under each author, and if the book is available. Can nobody on TikTok hear me? Let me try this. Hold on. How about now? Can you guys on TikTok hear me? Let me know. Make sure my microphone's not broken. Okay, there we go. All right. Let's try this again. Since I was talking to everybody on TikTok on mute, I apologize about that. So we've got the author page up right now. It is live, and on the author page, if the book is available, you'll see an underline with a link here. You can click on that. That'll take you straight to where the book can be purchased. And under each author, you've got a link to all their socials, to their website, whatever it is they choose to send me. Next to each book, you've got the synopsis and or blurb, whichever one they choose to send me. And there you go. So these are the two books we're reading tonight: The Wingbreaker by Megan Mossgrove and A Fallen Spark by Stephanie Beverly. I've read both their excerpts already in an effort to not embarrass myself. Both of them are fantastic, and I can't wait to get into reading them. Let me go ahead and get some of these up real quick. Anybody who's in here, feel free to share the live out. I'd like to reach as many people as possible. I'm going to be starting this week with Stephanie's book. Let me get rid of the author page. So Stephanie's book right up here, right there, yep, Fallen Spark. I'm going to start with that one. She gave me an excerpt from, I think, the prologue. Yep, the prologue. And it's awesome. It's a very cool concept, and I can't wait to see where the rest of it goes. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I do, because it's just the way it drags you into the book is just very interesting. Chris, I don't know. I think Megan will be here. I did let her know about it, but either way, Megan's will be next. We're going to start with Stephanie. Let me go ahead and get her promotional up. There we go. And I'm going to get my face out of the way. So, again, I'll be reading the excerpt. I know that the people on TikTok can see another little chat window next to their own. That's only for YouTube and such, so that way when people watch back on the live, they can see all the comments. So by all means, share some comments. Anybody that will watch it later or after the fact who's not here or wants to see it, at any point in the future, can see all your comments. And just take a minute too and just admire this beautiful artwork. I don't know who did your artwork, but they did a phenomenal job. All right, here we go. So this is the prologue titled Adler from A Fallen Spark. I remembered the drowning, the air squeezing out of my lungs and converting into dragon fire. The roaring of flames and rushing of water consumed me. I was truly a dragon now. My skin felt tight, dry, and leathery. I choked on thick smoke as it encircled me, seeping into my hardened flesh. There was a distinct, inescapable smell I couldn't place. I wanted to retch as it pierced my nostrils and pulsed through my blood vessels. A woman with familiar dark blue eyes and delicate features stood beside me. Mother's black dress was smoldering. Purple flames fumed around us, but we did not burn, even though the ground was black with soot under our feet. Had I done this? Seeing my confusion, she spoke softly. We should have taken more precautions. It's okay. Everything will be fine, son. You'll be fine. I would be fine? What had happened? Where were the dozens of people that had watched me drown? My father? Fear built within me. A deep rumble left my dry, scorched throat in an effort to express my dismay. Shh! You can't talk in this form, Adler. She placed a hand on my snout. Focus on your body and what it is telling you. Only you can control shifting in and out of your dragon form. You have to identify with both sides of yourself to turn. You can do it. I believe in you, Adler. Her reminder wasn't needed. I knew this. My eyes fell shut, and a picture of my human body formed. At 6 years old, I was small, not even reaching the height of a dragon's knees. This form wasn't me. That small human child was me. This shouldn't be happening this way. I cannot be blamed for his darkness. Father's harsh words were met with a muffled reply. I couldn't see my father or the person he was talking to. My heart shrunk. Father wasn't proud of me. Mother tensed beside me, her hand tentatively rubbing my pebbled hide in an attempt to soothe me. It curses the Annexus name, Father growled. My ears strained to catch the reply, but roaring flames engulfed the rest of the conversation. I had disappointed my father, the man who epitomized power. The image of that small boy flashed in my mind again. While Father mirrored my appearance with our moonless eyes, soot-colored hair, and square jaw, that was where his resemblance to his soul heir ended. He was a powerhouse, never thirsting and all-consuming, thriving on his endless source of magic. I watched as Mother bottled some of the haunting dragon fire. The flames belonged to me, for the dragon within me produced them. I resented them for their concealment. The sparks hissed of mysteries within them, secrets so dark that even the vibrant flames could not illuminate them. Father's words dominated my thoughts. We were never close, but his disappointment still wounded me. As his heir, I should be his source of pride. Instead, I was his burden. What would he do? Would he find another child to take up the Annexus name? The smoke gradually dispersed as the flames burned out, revealing my surroundings. Mother remained at my side, endeavoring to reassure me that everything would be fine. Yet the scene before me drowned out her words. I laid on the riverbank, where the water steamed. Discolored fish floated on the surface, transfixed by the fixation spell still in place. The earth was scorched black, and many trees that once thrived were now stripped bare. Where the bridge was, a few burnt logs smoldered and split, but this was not the aspect that seized my breath and arrested my heart. Farther down the river, bodies littered the bank, charred and unrecognizable. They were the humans who participated in the drowning ceremony. Today, the children were meant to initiate their new lives, human and purified. They could have been my friends in an alternate life. Their parents had watched with pride. I didn't know them, yet they were someone's friends and family. Now they amounted to naught but soot-stained bones and faces etched into my mind. Their innocent youth enthusiasm and eagerness to undertake the dragon's oath would fuel my nightmares. My frozen heart shattered and, to my dismay, continued to beat. The tears I yearned to shed refused to form. I blinked my dry eyes. My dragon prevented me from conveying my sorrow. So many victims fell to my roaring violet flame. I wanted to flare and consume my body too, but my scales resisted the heat. I was not a dragon. I was a monster. And there you go. That is the prologue, which, again, I think is an awesome concept. A great introduction to this new world that's being built. Let me go ahead and get my webcam back up. Sorry, I'm trying to do better about getting with the chat. So I apologize if I don't get to everybody. But Stephanie, that was a fantastic prologue. Nice and short, to the point, engages you in this new world. it kind of seems like you're going with like a were dragon theory. Like, is that kind of what you're getting at? Because, I mean, well done. It was really engaging. Let me scroll through this chat a little bit here to see what I missed. Oh, Megan showed up. Hey, Megan. Yeah. Yeah, the cover is fantastic. Stephanie, I don't know who you got to do your cover, but it looks awesome. I mean, that just really, seriously, look at this thing. That dragon is terrifying. And I'm assuming this is Adler all grown up. I don't know. Don't spoil it if it is a spoiler, but yeah. Yeah, like werewolf. Are they kind of like were dragons, able to kind of turn in and out? Okay, rare art. I'm gonna have to take a look. And anybody else, if you like this, right there in the comments, rare art. That was the artist that did this beautiful cover. All right, let me get back here. Go back to the promo. Completely forgot it was Thursday. There's a reason my female main character has no thoughts in her brain. Yeah, I almost forgot it was Thursday too. You also have a song for the book. That is awesome. If you'd like, I can upload it on the website as well to go along with it once I put the YouTube video up there. If you have a YouTube video, I don't mind embedding it onto the site. So if you have the song up on a YouTube video with the cover or anything, just let me know. I don't mind putting it up on there. Nice. Oh, same. Yeah, I forgot you had a song too, Megan. If you have a song that you'd like to put on the site as well, just let me know. Send me a YouTube link or something, and I will include it on the website as well. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit here. And I apologize if any like computer noises, Discord chat, notifications or anything pop up while I'm trying to do this. But yeah, and I want to not forget that I'm on Discord as well. Just make sure there's no comments here. Nothing. All right, perfect. All right, close out of this, and I'm going to get Megan's up. Megan's is a little bit longer. She took the full 2,500 words almost, but it is an excellent excerpt. It starts with a poem. I'm not very good at reading poetry, so I'll try my best. Does a TikTok video link work? I can try. Send it to me after this, and I'll attempt to embed a TikTok video link. I've never tried it before, but yeah. But anyways, yes, again, beautiful cover. And I think it definitely fits, just from the excerpt that I've read, it definitely fits the theme of the book. It fits it really well. All right, let me get my face out of there as well. TikTok keeps telling me that it's having connection issues. So if I cut in and out, I apologize. But here we are. We're going to go dive right into this. So this is from chapter 16. I don't know if it's the full chapter or just an excerpt, but this is chapter 16 titled Fael. It's my favorite color, green. Though they claim that it is red. I'm good at it, the killing. One for many. The forest doesn't mind. I am only one of those here that nourishes her with what she always planned to reclaim. I don't feel it anymore, the red, the silky scarlet that binds my hands, that strangles my soul, that ruins the green. I will be the one. The crowd parted to allow the princess and her betrothed their first dance. It was odd, Fael decided, to have spent so little time with someone, yet know, without reason, without doubt, that the saccharine smile they presented was an absolute falsehood. She danced with the prince like he was a lion, and in his arms, like jaws, might snap down to snare her at any moment. Around the ballroom, ostentatious dresses and suits cradled crooning nobles, too self-absorbed to see, or perhaps to care, that their princess was being led, gracefully, into one trap or another. These events were a different kind of hunt. Here, it became more challenging to tell who was predator and who was prey. Fael sniffed at a flute of champagne. In his other hand he held a second, already dosed with the hensbane. None would know the difference between them by sight or smell. The ballroom filled with polite applause as the regal dance ended, and he tracked the movements of his target as she made a graceful escape. Graceful, until she fumbled, caught for a moment in a small bulk that swung under her dress. On cue, the princess feigned another one of those smiles at a lord who helped steady her, then declined his obvious offer to dance. While her head swiveled over the crowd, Fael felt a troublesome sense of satisfaction that she'd declined another man to seek him out. His fist tightened on the tainted drink. A deep breath later, he pushed his legs to move. The air was cool in the royal gardens, and she gulped it down. "Princess." She jumped like a startled rabbit. He tamped down hard on his instincts as she turned to him. Dread widened her eyes, but faded when she realized. "Fael." She sighed his name, relieved. Without hesitation, she looped their arms and grabbed a glass out of his hand. His heart constricted as she downed it at once. It must have shown on his face. "I'm sorry. Was that one yours?" She placed a demure hand over her lips, but her eyes sparkled over the hidden smile. He shut his gaping mouth and nodded. "Come, walk with me." She tugged, and he followed, allowing the tainted champagne to pour from the remaining glass as they went. He couldn't very well drink it himself. A few other couples strolled the gardens. Some sent curious looks their way, and Fael began to re-strategize. His role as the Umbri scoutmaster wasn't common knowledge, but she'd specifically asked for him to bring his cloak. So he had to assume she knew who he was. Others might know, too. If there wasn't an opportune moment to finish the task tonight, he would have to wait. Otherwise, he'd start the war Umbri sought to avoid. Her eyes darted around the garden. "What's wrong?" He tried not to ask, but her nervous energy grated over him. "I'd rather not say just yet, but I find myself in a great need of distraction. Tell me about yourself." Since it was likely a trap, he said nothing, and the princess laughed. Bright and a little strained. Afraid. She may know who he was, but did she know why he was here? For all he knew, she might. She seemed to find entertainment in things she should fear. The magic, indeed, would be a problem, if she had a chance to use it. Meandering, she led them on a winding path before doubling back to an open door. Heat and noise poured out of it. "Elaine!" the princess shouted, throwing her voice with an odd lilt. Someone tossed a sack out with shocking abruptness. After retrieving it, they continued touring the gardens, following the pathways to its outer edge. As the path grew steadily darker, Fael had a mind to wonder if she led him into another trap of her own. She stopped near a small grove of flowering bushes and pulled a dress out of the sack. "Are you going to tell me why you tried to warn me? Why I came armed tonight?" Not that he needed too much encouragement to leave his rush order of more appropriate clothes behind. The princess tossed the sack aside and stepped into the bushes, concealing herself. "My father's been encouraged to force me into the marriage." Her voice sounded labored, like she fought against something. "That is not unusual for someone in your position, is it?" "You don't understand. There's something—" She huffed in frustration. "You brought a knife, right?" He palmed it with the blade flat against his forearm and extended it into the bush. A knife was not how she'd kill him, either. He imagined her reaction to blood was proof enough of that. He could disarm her with a finger either way. Her hands were hot and clumsy when she pulled it free. "There's something wrong with the Prince of Corsair." She seemed to struggle again. "I can't get this off." "You can't get what off?" She stepped out again, her dress askew. I need your help. Otherwise, I'll end up stabbing myself. She offered him the knife. Fael looked around in alarm. What are you doing? He said in a startled whisper. The skin of her neck bobbed as she swallowed. I'm getting out of here. But first I need to change, and you need to help me get this dress off. He stilled. Do I? She stepped into his space. Yes. The royal entitlement sent his teeth grinding. And if I don't? She slipped the tip of the knife between the front of her dress and the skin of her breasts. Then you'll be carrying me to the castle, half naked and bleeding out. He pinned her with a glare and wrapped his fist over the knife, pushing hers away. She'd delivered herself to him, a lamb to slaughter, put the knife to her own chest. Though he wished she would, the princess didn't shy away from his ire. Almond eyes set against him with obvious challenge, so at odds with the way the gentle scent of lavender and vanilla washed over him. Fael pressed the blade with intention, slitting the hard fabric, before cursing himself. He flipped the blade and braced his hands on either side of the tear. His hands likely felt too abrasive against the impossible softness of her skin. You really should be more careful, he murmured, and with a deafening rip he tore the top in two. The princess blinked, her cheeks suddenly flushed. You ripped it! Fael couldn't help a satisfied smirk as he sheathed the weapon. You're welcome. Once she scrambled back into the bushes, he checked the perimeter for any other surprises, depositing the glass in the bushes. After a minute, she stepped into view, clothed, thankfully. The blue fabric of the first dress tangled in her legs. She kicked and prodded it until it was concealed in the foliage. Originally, I thought I'd ask for your cloak. All mine are in beautiful colors, not exactly subtle, but... Subtle was the last thing you'd call his cloak, so she hadn't expected this one after all. Hadn't figured out who he was. He didn't let the relief show. So... You're running? Fael asked. He'd absently drawn his stone from his pocket and flipped it once before tucking it away. The princess's eyes tracked the movement. She seemed more relaxed now. Whatever plan she had was going well, but her chin lifted at his dubious tone. The steel in her eye dared him to voice the challenge. He held his hands up, playing the wolf cowed by the mouse. Her hair fell, long and mussed, down to her navel as she removed the jeweled pins. With graceful audacity, the princess stepped close enough to take the dagger from his belt. He crossed his arms, watching in increasing horror as she took the auburn length into a fist above her collarbone and, mouth set in a grim line, sawed away at it with his dagger. You can go. The princess tucked his blade in her belt, completely unsheathed, and tossed the shorn length of hair with the hidden dress. Fael followed her to a bare part of the garden wall. Heaving the pillow-sack bag over before her, she scaled it like a cat. His eyebrows rose in reluctant admiration. Obviously, it wasn't the first time she'd used this way to get out. Should he follow? If she was running, the threat of the marriage alliance would be over. Arrogant male interrupted his thoughts and strangled her cry of alarm. Fael leapt into motion, taking a running start at the wall. His feet brought him up 1 step, 2 steps, and he lunged, arms stretched high overhead so the tips of his fingers caught the top. He wrenched himself up with a groan, his muscles burning like fire until he settled, kneeling, on the foot-wide ledge. A handful of human soldiers were scattered in the alley. One held the princess with an arm behind her back and a hand pinned over her mouth. A couple flanked the Corsarian prince as he stood before her, not a speck on his ballroom attire. A man stood behind them, the dark to the prince's light. His hands were in his pockets, casual, but helpless anguish revealed itself in the tightness of his shoulders, the set of his jaw. He didn't like this, but apparently had reason to believe he couldn't stop it. Fael had no such qualms. Standing, he shrugged his cloak over his shoulders, revealing the leather he wore, the sword at his side, and the dismantled bow in his hands. Muscle memory had its 3 parts snapped together in an instant. He plucked 3 arrows from the quiver on his belt, and 3 soldiers fell, white griffin feathers buried in their throats. Panicked shouts echoed against the wall, and Fael welcomed the familiar narrowing of focus. He dropped into the confusion, rolling to break the impact. A sharp pain flared in his hip as he rolled over the sending stone in his pocket. But he came up behind the guard holding the princess and swung. The man skittered sideways, avoiding the fist aimed at his kidneys. In panic, he released the princess, and that was all the window Fael needed. Stepping in front of her, he unsheathed his sword. Kavir's blade caught the torchlight and glittered, promising death. In a moment of silence, the prince stepped forward, eyes shining over an arrogant smirk. He stopped his men with one hand and drew a thin sword with the other. "Dmitri, get back!" None acknowledged the man with the dark hair. The prince lunged. Fael had height and reach on him, and the prince was human. But the match wasn't so easily decided. He underestimated his opponent's strength and speed. The prince matched Fael blow for blow, and they leapt back from each other, breath ragged. The prince's smirk grew into a grin at Fael's obvious confusion. They leapt again, metal ringing. Neither gained the upper hand. It shouldn't be possible. Changing tactics, Fael feinted, turning his sword back at the last moment to drag Kavir over the man's ribs. The prince leapt back, one hand clutching his bloodied side. The dark-haired man spoke to him in hushed tones. Fael glared, hoping he'd step into the fight next. Instead, the 2 remaining guards circled around, trying to flank him. But before they could engage again, the prince cried out and dropped his sword. All attention turned to the deafening clatter of metal on stone. He doubled over, clawing at his left arm. Fael used the distraction to haul the princess to him. Her wild heart beat into his chest. He pressed his mouth to her ear. "I'm going to distract the 2 moving behind us. When you see an opportunity, run." The princess didn't acknowledge the words, didn't look away from the prince. Her face drained of color. Something was wrong. "Do you feel that?" Her voice trembled. An unnatural stillness blanketed the cramped street. Like prey gone silent with the approach of a predator, a lightning bolt of fear made its jagged way through him when he saw why. The prince stood tall now, a distorted, too big smile on his face. He held his arms out as if unaccustomed to their weight. Torchlight flickered in the eyes that were flooded black. Fael was caught for a moment, unable to look away as their ravening gleam assessed friend and foe alike. Dimitri's eerie grin widened into something monstrous when it found Leo. "How nice to finally meet you," a female voice reverberated on top of the prince's. The wrongness of it prickled the hair on Fael's neck. The creature's smile fell as its eyes roved over him. What was it? It casually surveyed Dimitri's body. "I can see why you'd rather have that one, but I'm afraid I can't allow that to happen. Dimitri won't suit me for long. I have other plans for him." It flicked 2 fingers into the air, and a knife of pure darkness shot toward them. He shoved the princess to the side and rolled the other way. To his horror, she recovered swiftly and ran toward the prince. "Stay behind me!" He couldn't have heard that correctly. A soft wall of light bloomed in front of her. Magic. Hoping he understood, he drew his bow and loosed an arrow at the creature's heart. The bolt sailed smoothly past the barrier, but fell out of the air before it hit its mark, as if it hit a wall. The dark-haired man shouted at the princess to stop. Fael loosed an arrow at him, too, but the man waved a hand, and the arrow broke on a wall of hard air that surrounded him. Another magic user. This could get bad. "Leo, let it go!" the wizard yelled. "You can't sustain it!" Feminine laughter bubbled out from the prince, and darkness pooled in his hand. The woman wearing his body tossed it lazily at the light wall, not bothering to aim. A second wall appeared in front of Leo's, brighter and more tangible. The black magic shattered it, and the second wizard flinched. That was Fael's chance. The man may be protecting Leo from the creature now, but he hadn't tried to stop the prince. And Fael was going to make sure she made it out of this city. And that is the end of chapter 16. I don't know, was that the full chapter or was that an excerpt from the chapter? But excellent. I really enjoyed that. Now, I know chapter 16 is a way into the book, so there were some things in there that I think might have been covered earlier on, but I still think that was a well-done chapter to kind of get you into the moment. And just the expression of magic and Leo turning into, I don't know, do you have a name for the creature? I gotta know. The creature that, the female that's inside of the body and whatever he becomes, which it kind of gives me there was a like a internet creature. It was like this long elongated face with like that weird wicked smile that was going around for a while, probably like 2015, 2016. Let me get my webcam back up here. Either way, that was really well done, really well written. I like how everything kind of formed and came together. And like I told you before, the way the characters kind of act and behave around each other flows nicely, flows smoothly, and it's just really fun to read. Let me get back into the Discord one more time too, just to make sure. Okay, no comments there. Let me read through some of these comments here as well. I don't know how far away I was. I'm just kind of scrolling randomly, so if I missed any comments, I apologize. Oh, Cassie, welcome. Makes you giggle. Yeah, probably. I probably butchered that, so. Oh, Gimli was here. Oh, thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Sounds like Nick Offerman. Oh, I don't think I sound like Nick Offerman, but thank you. That's awesome, because Nick Offerman has just like, he's got that voice, man. I don't think I want to do anything else on TikTok ever again. I'll get into the trade. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to be reading the acknowledgments of my book. That's the extent of the Atlas credits. Reading is intense. I agree, Nander, and welcome. Yeah, no, that reading was awesome. Megan, you did such a great job with that writing, and I'm very excited for whenever you release this book, because even just this little bit, 2,500 words or so, was phenomenal to read. And especially right at the end, the prince capturing the princess and everything that ensues was just phenomenal. I cannot wait for you to release this book. Question for you. How long is this book currently? I know you still got edits and stuff to do, but how many words is your book currently, Megan? It's well-deserved hype. It is well-deserved hype. 100,000 words. That's a good amount. And you said this is the Wingbreaker. Do you have any idea how many books you have planned, or is this a one and done kind of thing? I can't remember. Let me get the promo back up here too, so we can get both books up here. And while I'm waiting for her answer, just another reminder that the page on my website is live. 3 planned. Awesome. I'm very excited for that. Book 2 is half drafted. Oh yeah, you were talking about that, right? Because of NaNoWriMo, right? Yeah, you guys. So if anybody doesn't know, Megan is co-host to the Between the Pages podcast. She also does morning writing sprints, I think from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time, or 7 to 9 a.m. Sorry, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time. She does writing sprints. She also does workshop every Wednesday on the Between the Pages podcast, and that's 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, which I guess is also 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. But if you guys don't know Between the Pages, go follow Sean Amick, Megan Mossgrove as well, and make sure you check it out. That's another community that is doing its best to promote and help other indie authors. They've got a Discord. They do author interviews with Sean Amick, and sometimes Megan steps in to co-host those interviews. And yeah, I try to help as many indie authors as I can, obviously with the website and with the live author readings. Sean Amick, Megan Mossgrove, there's a bunch that's involved with Between the Pages that do their best to absolutely help fellow indie authors. So please go check them out. And like I said, the website is up. Stephanie's book is out, and she did provide a link to, I can't remember if it was Linktree website. I kind of get a varied response from some of them. I usually just copy the link and throw it in here. But this will take you to links to where you could support the authors. So please go support Stephanie. And her book is available. So if you enjoyed the prologue that I read first, please go read that. Megan's book is not out yet. I think she's getting ready. She's doing her second round of beta reads right now. And she's going to get ready to query. So I don't think that she has a date in mind just yet. But the link is here for her social media sites. Please go follow her. If you're here on TikTok, again, she's right here in the chat. By all means, go give her a follow. And yeah, I'm gonna cut this out. Like I said, every night Between the Pages from 8 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. It depends, I guess, on what interviews they have set up. They do live author interviews, usually with independent authors. Sometimes they'll bring in narrators, editors, book designers, stuff like that. So once you're done here, take a little break and go check out the Between the Pages podcast. But as it is now, again, to both authors, thank you so much for trusting me with your work and allowing me to promote it. Hopefully I bring at least one new reader to you, if anything, one new reader. But other than that, very well done. I was super excited to read these. To be honest, I read through these ones at least twice, just because they were exciting and I wanted to make sure that I got the voices right. And even doing that, I still fumbled over it. But I feel like that's just something I'm going to have to live with. Anyways, I appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you for supporting these indie authors. Be sure to check back on this page, because once YouTube processes the live video, I'll upload the videos of just their readings in here, so you can check it out whenever you need to. Megan and Stephanie, you're absolutely welcome. I'll send you the YouTube links. You're free to use it as promotional material if you'd like. Send people to it. By all means, do what you need to. Until next time, though, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you guys so much. Have a good evening.